Hi, my name is Sarah Gribble. I teach 9th and 10th grade English and academic workshop.
I'm James Wolverton. I teach mathematics at Squalicum High School.
Hi, my name is Chris Glass. I'm the Dean of Students at Squalicum High School.
Hi, I'm Tracy Frank and I teach at Squalicum High School. I teach some math classes and I teach some computer classes.
Hi, I'm Emma Holmberg and I teach yearbook, TV production, and BizCom.
This year, with the one-to-one technology,
I've learned that the use of OneNote has really helped me to organize students' participation reflections, to create really quick feedback for students about how they're doing, what they can do to improve.
Students have the ability to wirelessly collaborate on different types of work, whether it's a 3D paint model or a Microsoft Word document. So using OneNote and the other cloud collaboration things that we have, students can work on their work together in real time.
Some of the challenges too are some students just still really like paper, and so that I still want to make sure I have that provided for them.
It's been positive for the most part. I think in organization, it helps me stay organized as well as the kids get organized, because the kids get to have their laptops. I push out all their assignments, the calendar's on there. They can keep track of homework assignments. I can keep track of when they get done because they don't lose work because it's all on the computer. So we don't do worksheets anymore. That's all on the computer that I can look at it independently. I'm able to give feedback to the kids in class as well as outside of class.
Struggles. One of the biggest ones is styluses. They're a big struggle because they tend to break. They're not the strongest styluses. There are always little issues that happen during class, and I think you just kind of have to have the attitude that this is kind of stuff that happens in the classroom. Sometimes a pencil breaks or somebody didn't bring their work or something like that, and instead now it's sometimes their stylus isn't working and somebody didn't charge their computer. So.
This year with our new devices and using OneNote, a couple things I've learned. It's been great having the students work in one location that I can check from home. I can check on the weekends. Students aren't submitting papers to me directly anymore. It's been nice to be able to just push out worksheets every morning to the students and not have to worry about photocopying or waiting in line for the photocopier. I can just go ahead and send it out to the students and everybody has a copy of it. That's also made it a little bit difficult because students' laptops that either aren't charged or aren't working, they've had a little bit of struggle. We've gone through a lot of batteries when their styluses don't work.
Je m'appelle Izzy Doulion and I teach French 1, 2, 3, and AP at Squalicum High School. The collaboration space within OneNote is a really cool tool that allows student output to become student input immediately. When students can work on a project in the same tech space, the work that they produce immediately becomes an example or a model for their peers, and students love getting input from other students.
What I learned about one-on-one technology is that it can be very frustrating. However, I also learned that it's easier to keep a sense of humor about it. I also learned that it can be used when you're having struggles in your classroom. You can use them as teachable moments, and so your students can learn how to problem solve with you. And I also learned that students are really helpful and enjoy helping problem solve when there are technology problems.
I think what's been most positive about it is how many different activities and ways that I can incorporate technology into my classroom. I also think it's been great with students being able to use their OneNote. I haven't had to make copies. I haven't had to track kids down for papers. Since it's already on their OneNote, I can check their work as we're going through and give them instant feedback. It's been really, really handy for my book group discussions. I'm able to have kids look at the rubric and self-evaluate as I walk around with my tablet, and I'm able to give them feedback while they're doing their discussions and grade them as well. So that's been really, really handy.
The best part about technology this year for me has been the time that I've spent standing in front of a photocopier and the lack of panicked mornings when the photocopier isn't working and I can't get photocopies made.
Hi, my name is Chad Herman and I'm a teacher at Squalicum High School in the Social Studies Department. Some of the negatives, I think, just issues that you run into with any situation in a school setting is student preparedness, not bringing their device charged, not bringing their device at all, having it halfway charged and it runs out of battery throughout the day or throughout the class period. Obviously, some of those issues are things that they can't help because it's a technological issue. Things like syncing their devices with their OneNote and trying to get things loaded, that became a problem. Some functional issues, just losing chargers or having styluses that break or losing a stylus. Those were other issues that we ran into. And another big issue with turning documents in and submitting material through the OneNote platform was the issue of academic honesty. It's much more difficult to figure out whether kids are plagiarizing, doing their own work, or taking work from others and submitting that as their own. And so there has to be a big push for and communication with the students about the concept of academic honesty.
Things that I find positive about the one-on-one devices is the fact that students can access their computer work at home. But in order to do that, the biggest piece of advice I have is for students to learn how to sync. For instance, in our class, we use desktop computers. We don't use the devices. However, if students are able to sync correctly to OneDrive on their device, they're able to access the same work on their one-on-one device. And so that to me is like the biggest advice I have, is making sure students know how to properly save so that they can access, depending on what classroom they're in, which computer that they're going to be using for that day.
I built notebooks at the beginning of the year for my students, and I called them, for example, Biology Semester 1. And I put stuff in the notebook and my students used it, and that was great. And then Semester 2 came, and my intention was to build new notebooks, and I did not. And the notebooks got really big. And they got so big that they started not functioning really well. I also had been attaching items. When I would send a lesson out to students, I would attach PowerPoint notes or a Word document rather than just put a printout in for the students. And those things also made my notebooks get really, really big. To the point where we reached a time where students would try to access, I would try to send them a lesson, or they would try to access the notebook and it wouldn't work. So we had to go back and take some stuff out and make adjustments. And this is something I wish I would have known about before I had made these mistakes. So how I have made changes is that when I send a lesson to students now, I don't attach large files like a PowerPoint or a Word document, but I put that in my content library. And I have shown students how to access the content library so that they can get that information. It's always available to them, but it doesn't come to them with every single lesson, and that keeps notebooks small. In addition, I'm going to next year make new notebooks for Semester 2 so that we start fresh with the size of our notebooks.
Hi, I'm Mary Lippiett. I'm a special education teacher here at Squalicum High School. Class policy, I feel it's a more powerful tool in the classroom and being able to either start up programs or applications, shut things down, and that it is not a negative interaction with my students and I. So I need to get better at class policy, but the more I use it, the more I like it.
Some of the benefits to our one-to-one devices this year has been first and foremost just not having to make as many copies, not wasting paper. The other thing I think is a big positive with the devices is the quickness of the feedback that you can give to students. I can review work as quickly as they submit it in their devices or even as they're doing it, and I can provide feedback on top of as responses on top of their work and give that feedback to them immensely quick. This also helped when students missed days, where if they previously had missed days, they would have missed handouts or papers that had gone to the class, where now they can just check their OneNote and check their devices for anything that's been handed out. So it eliminates any of those problems where students are missing and they haven't got the material and now they're even further behind. They can stay up on their missing work even if they're not at school.
Another thing is that kind of interaction with students seems really dynamic. For example, today I was working with a student on one particular problem, and I could pull up her OneNote, and we could be working on that same problem at the same time, simultaneously, and I could be kind of guiding and seeing what's going on and help her with the understanding of the problem, kind of in real time. Both of us looking at the same kind of thing, popping up on my screen and hers. And sometimes a challenge is beyond kind of the minutia, is kind of the overall structure and system when Wi-Fi's down or I'm having issues with connecting to my projector. So
the library in particular was affected, especially in the fall, because everyone was learning their devices, and now that you can use them in the classroom, there were no longer any labs. So everyone stayed pretty consolidated, and the library was really quiet at the very beginning of the year. But as the semesters have gone on, people have kind of realized that, oh, these devices allow us to be mobile. So if I'm working on a project with students and I need them to spread out, we can just go someplace like the library and we can do a variety of different things. And we can do things differently than we used to be able to do them before. So that's been a really enriching thing for not only students, but I think teachers as well. And it's allowed a little bit more collaboration.